So for a long time, as you may or may not know, athletes, they might be involved in businesses or in business deals, but they're always brought in at the very end of the deal. That has officially changed, and I'm thankful for that. Today, athletes aren't just lending their name, showing up with a cute smile, and reading words on a teleprompter like I'm doing right now. They're asking the hard questions, though. That's what they're doing. They are investing time and, of course, money. They are helping build, and they're thinking about what they want out of their long-term plan. Now, I have seen this firsthand. When an athlete shows up and they are prepared and they are thinking about the long-term plan and they are fully invested, not just financially, the room shifts. Eyes open, people pay attention, the conversation changes. And that's what I love about this pitch day. Now, we brought together a great group that reflects that new reality. Please welcome our esteemed moderator, Beth Ferreira of Serena Ventures, along with my guys, Cam Jordan and Logan Ryan. Come on up.
So we have two incredible investors on the panel here, and we're going to hear a little bit about where they started and how they sort of entered the realm of investing and not coming in at the end, coming in at the beginning. So, Cam, why don't we start with you? What was the first instance where you were thinking, I'm the business person in the room and not the athlete?
I feel like I go into every partnership like that. I feel like I'm always trying to figure out how I best can take advantage of my situations. Mm-hmm. When I think about a partnership I had with Little Caesars, an ambassadorship deal, we did a commercial, I was like, oh, that's great. A commercial's awesome, but how can I get a part of the company? How do I either open up my own spot? How can I do a franchise? And at the first time I asked about it, they sort of like, laughed it off, ha ha ha, we'll see if we use you next. Next time I meet the CMO, hey man, that franchise idea, how do you like that? I think it's the middle child in me, the pest, if you will. the little brother that I am, I'm always inquiring for more. And it's like, no, I actually want to understand the business. I actually would love to be in contact with the franchisor. And it was that shift of conversation, like, oh, you're serious, after maybe the second, third, fourth time. But it's that continual knocking on the door. Eventually that door is going to open, or you're going to find your own way. Mm-hmm. And so, which led me to a phenomenal relationship with a guy named Andrew Fagali, who has 75, 80 different Little Caesars and a myriad of different other businesses. And you sort of take that mentorship as it is.
Mm-hmm. Now, Logan, you have been an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're early in OpenAI, so you're obviously a genius. And so just tell us a little bit about your path and how it was to be a founder.
Well, I'll be honest, this is a huge growth for me in my financial literacy throughout my career. I feel like, Cam, I think can attest, like we have a financial literacy problem in America, and I feel like especially as athletes. And when I came in as an athlete, I want to hire a team around me, then I just wanted to focus on playing ball. I wanted to keep the main thing, work on these contracts, and focus on playing ball and let them tell me what to invest in, let them tell me what to do. I wanted to keep my off days only on football because I understand it was a maximum earning potential in my career. And I would say around 2020, when we had the George Floyd incident in the United States, I saw a major divide in our country, and obviously we still have divides today. But at that moment, my father was a retired police officer of 25 years in Camden, New Jersey. So I thought, we have this huge bridge with police and people and civilians, and no one's getting along, no one's understanding what the blues got to do, what they got to do, whatnot, racism. And I said, why don't I start a company where I hire police officers with clean records who are retired, majority minorities, to go talk to other police departments on how to do their job better, how to handle arrests better, how to handle arrests with empathy. Because I learned as a player, I think Cam can agree, I almost learned more from players than I did from coaches. Because unless you're in that field, you can't really relate to what you're going through. So I started that company. I took ownership of that company. We did a tremendous partnership with the NYPD and trained that police department and been doing that for 5 years. Now, I since closed down the company because it's really hard to motivate 6-year-old police officers to work once they're retired, and especially to get your dad to go to work every single day. But I was able to get a lot of money in their pockets and have the proof of concept out there. But once I started that company successfully and ran that, had my dad working for me, I knew at every business deal after that, it was my job to get more involved. It's easy to let someone else tell me what to invest in. I started getting way more involved. I started to understand what it's like to be an owner of a company and the stresses of that. And I challenged myself in every deal going forward, especially with OpenAI and all this other stuff I'm invested in, to learn more about it, to have a legitimate seat at the table and not just the athlete that gets paid to smile and show up.
And when did you do that? When did you start that? Was it a couple years after you stopped playing, or what was the timing?
So I would say that started, I opened the company in 2020. So I was probably already 7-8 years in my career. I've made, I've signed multiple contracts. I already was a Super Bowl winner. But my whole mindset shifted. I'm a plan A person. I don't really believe in plan B too much. I believe in going for it. But I realized that I had to start thinking outside of just playing ball. And I retired in 2023. So now I've gotten way more involved in all my investments going forward. But I think that shift kind of started in year 7, year 8 of my career.
What do you think the most underrated value that an athlete brings to the table in a company or partnership?
Honestly, I believe sort of what Logan just said, there's this idea that we have to succeed in whatever we take to. As an athlete, you always want to be the best. As an athlete, you're always pushing your best foot forward. How do I accomplish this? How do I get across this goal line? How do I get to this point A? How do I get to this point B? What is my avenue in which we do it? So the moments that you like, oh, I have equity in a company. Oh, I want to start my own company. How best do I get to my finish line? What is it? Is it hiring the right accountant? Is it hiring the right financial advisor? Is it hiring the right team? Because everybody knows, as strong as you are as an individual, you're better as a team. Mm-hmm. When you enter a team, you're trying to play into your strengths. What are my strengths? Know yourself, and you can push yourself further to your best limits.
And Logan, what do you think is the underrated value that you bring to the table?
I love where Cam left it there with the importance of teamwork. When you're a professional athlete, when you're an athlete, it's all about learning how to be a good teammate, right? There's no way I can walk in this building if I'm investing with a company and act like I know more about the company than they do. Mm-hmm. I got to be willing to learn about the company. I got to be willing to understand what the social media guy's role is and what he's trying to do and help him, as long with the owner and the CEO and everyone in between. So there's different roles, and I think we are bred to be such good teammates because obviously in football, it's the closest thing to war in a sense of everyone has to do their job, when you're out there to get it done. It's the same thing when you're building a company. Everyone has to know their role. You can't step on other people. So I think the value of belief and teamwork, right? What we're not just coming to work just to clock in. Like, what are we trying to do? What is our goals? Goal setting. In the NFL, it's really simple what your goal is every single year. We say it's the Super Bowl, and there's one team does that and everyone else, goes home unhappy, but there's also goals you had in between there. So I think kind of knowing what your goals are, it's not always the Super Bowl. It could be this and this year, right? We want to make the playoffs. I don't know what it is for Cam, maybe to win a division or something. But I would say, some goals can be smaller, some goals can be bigger, but you got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere.
And I think that's what you bring when you go in the room, your experience of being on elite teams.
Yeah. What do you think about, you've both been building your personal brands over time. What do you think about, the connections you have and the way that you can support your companies with the relationships that you've built through your careers?
I'll start. I mean, it's got to go with your network, who and I think, us athletes have access to a lot of money right now and early in our lives, and what to do with that. And I just invested in a company, Greener Pastures, which is Von Miller's poultry farm, right? And there's 30 other athletes involved in that. We're combining our money to go into organic, homegrown chicken, poultry, to get into the chicken industry of all the, a restaurant called Wing Riot, which will be opening up in a few months, right? And that's me partnering with Von Miller, a guy I played against. But why can't we help each other out? Why can't I bring some equity and some ideas to what he's doing, right? And support each other and stuff, not try to compete against each other all the time. So I think we got to know our worth. We got to know our abilities to work together sometimes. And I think my social network of having Cam Jordan in my phone, having Tom Brady when he picks up in my phone, right? Those things can help us bring our money together to invest in things as one.
I was going to say, honestly, that Rolodex is key.
Yep.
There's a wealth of information out there. And if you take away the football player, how do you get in that room? But if you use your leverage as a football player, it's easy to step into any room. You're officially Logan Ryan, Super Bowl champion. I'm Cam Jordan, 132 sacks, Saints franchise leader. You know, there's accolades that you can always push out
People
to
wanna
enter the
talk
chat.
to you.
Absolutely. You know, there's companies that you use about, do I actually like this brand? Do I actually use the product? What is my familiarity of it? And how can I get in touch? You know, there was a active brand for me, which was Screen Skins, that I was like, oh man, like I protect the screen, I'm in a locker room. You know, I've always got little brothers across the league, you know, like that play too much, you know, always looking over the shoulder, whatever it is. So you're like, you need something, right? I was like, oh, you get a privacy screen, they can't see it anymore. Contacted this company on Instagram, enter the chat, months later, enter a business deal with them, you know, get equity out of the deal. They were just on Shark Tank, pitched some things, and you're growing with them over the course of the last 18 months. You see real life growth. You see that. It wouldn't happen if you aren't comfortable using, hey, how can I help? How can I help create visibility? Oh, I've got teammates, Alvin Kamara, or you know, whoever it is. If we just send him his own personalized thing, he's gonna put on, you know, social media, and oh, he has 1 million followers, so that this doesn't, you know, it doesn't hurt. Oh, I've got a great former teammate, Jameis Winston, and everything he touches turns into media gold. If I just slide this product into him, it's gonna help us out.
Yep.
It's about using who you are as a person, who you are as a teammate, and having the ability to have those relationships with your Rolodex.
That's awesome. And how do you think the business path for athletes has changed today versus even 5 years ago?
I would say it's understanding you're a brand, right? Everything's about eyeballs. Marketing has completely changed. You don't have to sit here and pay for a commercial all the time to sell your product. You could sell it on social media, right? We have following. So I try to take my following of football fans, right, and put that to how I felt about the George Floyd situation. I try to take that following of football fans and show about my animal profit that I run, right, to help rescue animals. And I'm converting the football fans that just want to see me, you know, tackle people and get interceptions. Well, when I switch teams, my animal advocates, my animal lovers will follow me on that team, right? So I'm able to bring people from my platform of playing on Sundays, realizing that has worth, realizing that has a platform, and be able to bring them in different rooms that I might want to not always sell them, but what I feel I can make, you know, I'm looking for solutions constantly to make the world a better place. I try to invest in companies that I truly do believe that. I don't have to invest in companies that don't do that. So I think I have the freedom to invest in stuff that I feel like can help people, and I think I can bring my fan base. And I pitch that to companies that my social media following and my ability to get clicks that is worth some equity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I don't know.
That was well said.
You're good. That's well said.
Don't force it.
So, what's one mistake that athletes make when they want to be taken seriously in business?
The ability to defer to
What do you mean by that?
either your agent, to either a manager. As you know, as you go in, you're like, all right, I got an agent. Talk to my agent. We'll figure it out. Be involved.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an idea and you see it through to the end, the ability to defer is, oh well, or whatever it is. Bring family members into it. Oh well, my brother needs a job, so I threw him this. Is he qualified? Does he want to be qualified? Can he bring value? You know, there's definitely. I think it's awesome when you can bring family in. I think it's awesome when you can bring the right team in. But again, it has to be a team on the same accord. So if it's, hey, I'm bringing family in, but they don't know anything about the business, how is that helping you? How is that helping the business? Is that sustainable?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, how do you know who to trust?
That's over time. I mean, trust is over time. You know, I'll have a quick story I'll share. When I left college when I was 21 years old to go play in the NFL. And the first thing my parents said is, we're going to get you a financial advisor. So I got a financial advisor out of Morgan Stanley. He's a great guy, was a great guy at the time, talked to him every week, blah, 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 tell me he's investing that. Long story short, 8 years later in our relationship, you know, I was paying a really high fee that I didn't realize was a lot because I was comparing it to agent fees or marketing fees. But I was paying a 3 or 5% fee to a financial advisor, right? Assuming at 21, 22, I'm doing the right thing. He's doing nothing. He's pretty much doing a very basic portfolio, right? And I realized, then soon learned that he was being sued and he was stealing from some famous NBA players. So he lost his license, went to jail. But at that moment, I realized that I didn't know enough. I thought I was doing the right thing by having a financial advisor, let him handle it. But I wasn't overlooking things. So I had a whole financial audit. He didn't take a dollar from me. But I thought I had trust. That was 7, 8 years, and he was doing this to athletes' greed, right? Because you're talking about a lot of money. So at that moment in my life, after I fired him, I interviewed the 5 best financial advisors that I had based on friends and family, and sat down with them, and I asked them all questions, and I took notes, and I learned from 5 of the best financial advisors. So when I picked my next financial advisor, I had so much more growth of information. When I do that hour phone call a week with my financial advisor or more, now I'm learning from him, so I'm much at a higher chair than I was. So I think I was trying to trust because I had the people around me. I have the agent, I have this, I trust them, they'll do all right, they have a good record, and they're stealing right under your nose. Not because, you know, I did anything wrong, but it's because I wasn't checking enough. And although he failed a lot of people and did wrong things, I allowed that to happen. So I vowed to never let that happen again and changed my entire team and made sure I had a lot more power within my team.
Wow. I don't know if you have anything to add. No?
It sounded like he defined what I said defer.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I wish I deferred sooner.
So looking ahead, where do you personally see the biggest opportunities for athletes to own and not just invest?
Oh, Caleb Williams tried it. I was rooting for him. Caleb Williams got drafted and said he wanted ownership of a team. He wanted part of a contract. Impossible for now, but love the insightfulness. In this NIL era, now athletes are being exposed at a much younger phase, which the drawbacks is they're young and all of a sudden they're having to make adult type decisions if the right foundation isn't set. But at the same time, it's almost like an infinitesimal sized company at the ground level. These kids are 16, 17, 18 getting NIL deals, which they can lead to long-term partnerships, which hopefully they're smart enough in the future will just equal sweat equity, will equal opportunities to go in with the company at a local company and grow as they do. It could lead to a super literate financial plan for the next generation. Now that's wishing well, but there has to be some sort of union for these younger kids to be a part of to understand that. I mean, the landscape is free right now. It's the wild, wild west.
Yeah. And Logan, you've invested a fair amount in the tech world.
Yeah.
How do you get smart on that? And how does athletes think about entering that space?
It's ever changing, right? It's so fast, it's changing so fast. But I will say this is a message, I keep looking at you, Quentin and I play together at Rutgers, and for the NFLPA or any players out there, or anybody in general, my biggest advice was, man, you have to have discipline. You have to have so much discipline. And I've always tried to have a budget, right? I lived within a budget regardless of what I was making. And that budget that I lived under, you know, allowed me to live now under what my portfolio makes me. So I don't touch any of my NFL contracts. I only use my marketing money that if I get for endorsements or what my portfolio makes me. And that's the budget my wife and I live under. That's why I don't fly private when I probably could afford to. That's why I choose maybe not always the best 5-star hotel or something, whatever it is. My wife don't like that one, but I try to live within a certain budget, right? Because that now, when I'm retired and I have to live off this money, it continues to grow. I don't touch it. I touch the interest. Now that allows me to be so much more aggressive with some of these investments with venture capital. So since I retired and I have more time to learn about venture capital, I've been investing so much more into these tech companies, taking more risk, having more money to lose or to gain. Now, boom or bust, I have much more exciting, in my opinion, get out of bed, exciting endorsements, young companies I'm rooting for, right? Because I had the discipline that allows me to do that. If I didn't and I bled into my capital, then now I'll be living off of what I made and would always just drain. Yep. And every single year as I get older, I can't do more. I can't take more risk. I have to take safer bets. So now I'm much more involved in the tech space because of the discipline I had when I was getting those Cam Jordan-sized contracts when I was playing, right? So that, I'm really happy about that, and I got on that during my career because I'm not chasing the money now when I'm retired.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's a lot of really great wisdom here. So thank you very much for joining us and having this panel.
Appreciate it. Thanks for
Absolutely.
having us.